Hi, welcome to Azure User Group Sweden. Thank you for joining us today live from my home office. And hi, Håkan.
Good morning, Jonah. How are you?
I'm doing great. Great to be back after I missed the last few sessions, I think. And I appreciate you hosting the event we had with Tore last
Yes.
time about Azure development. Yes. How are you doing since the last session?
Yeah, it's been great. It's kind of cold. It's just a couple of degrees, 4 degrees outside and cloudy, but otherwise
Yeah.
it's fine.
We have a very boring weather right now, but I can see that it's really autumn. And I think this Sunday or tomorrow we're going to be changing our time zone back to winter time. But everybody, I hope that you're having a good time wherever you're watching us or recorded or live later. But today we're back with an interesting session and a special guest. Previous speaker that we had earlier in the past events, and he's coming back, Kimberg, with us today. But before we start, let me do a proper introduction also, since we usually do that for those that are first time. So let me introduce my co-leader, Håkan Silvernagel. He is Microsoft MVP for AI. He works as an AI expert and consultant at Sopra Steria in Norway, and he is also the organizer and one of the community leaders of the school like AI 42 and AI community in Oslo, as well as the Norwegian.net user group. And it's an honor to collaborate with Håkan in Azure User Group Sweden every time we host this.
Thank you so much, Jonah. And it's my pleasure here to introduce Jonah Anderson. She's the founder of our user group, and she's also an MVP in Azure. She's a Microsoft certified trainer and the Microsoft certified trainer community lead. She's also a public speaker and a podcast host and an author of the book Learning Microsoft Azure on O'Reilly. And in her daily job, she works as a senior Azure consultant at Solidify.
Yes, thank you, Håkan. And I want to show my T-shirt today because it's a T-shirt that I advocate include everyone. It was actually Scott Hanselman that inspired me to buy this T-shirt. So it's really good to also represent that, include everyone in a way that's part of our purpose. Also at Azure User Group Sweden, we don't exclude speakers and audience in this community. We welcome everybody, regardless if you're an MVP or not, a first-time speaker. And I think Kim is one example of us welcoming and including him. It's the second time he's coming back. But before we start, should we go ahead and share our code of conduct, Håkan?
Yes, let's do
Do
that.
that. All right. Before we kick off, we would like to remind everybody of our code of conduct at Azure User Group Sweden. We expect everyone to be nice and friendly, respectful, and inclusive with your interaction with us in the live stream, and even in our after session fika or Zoom meetings after today. And if you have questions about our code of conduct, feel free to reach out to me and Håkan. And we will be also having fika here after. So it's kind of like a routine that freely or voluntarily, you can join us in a Zoom meeting with us, the speaker, if we run out of time and if you have further questions to the speaker related to the topic that we have today. All right. It's time to introduce our guest, Håkan.
Yes, so we were happy here to say welcome back to Kim Berg. So let us add him here to our session. Welcome, Kim.
Hello.
Hi, Kim.
Yes,
We just got a
little bit,
message here that says
yeah.
legends on one frame. That's good. Yeah, let's introduce Kim.
Yeah, so introduction here for those who are not familiar with Kim. So Kim Berg is the CTO for data and AI at Society Sweden, and he's also a Microsoft MVP for both AI and IoT technologies. And he is an Azure-focused solution architect that loves to design innovative solutions, and he likes spreading the knowledge he gained by speaking at public conferences and mentoring. So we're very happy to have you back, Kim.
Yeah,
Yes.
thank you for having me.
It's an honor to have you. I know that you're a double Microsoft MVP, right? You're MVP, Microsoft MVP for 2 categories.
Exactly. Which my
Yes.
session will cover both of them today.
That's great. That's awesome. Second time around, 2 categories. And I like your background photo, by the way. It's like the guy with the cloud. It reminds me also of your Friday, Fancy Friday that you post on LinkedIn. So it's not Friday today, it's Saturday. But can you tell us more about your Fancy Friday? I like sharing that you usually do.
Yeah, sure. No, I mean, it's been a really long-running tradition. It actually started with a colleague of mine, like, what is it now, like 13 years ago or something. So every Friday, no matter what, I dress up like in a full suit. So it's Fancy Friday because we don't have any dress policy for the company that I work for. So usually it's quite casual the other days, but on Fridays, it's Fancy Friday.
I like that. I like that. I remember I used to work that it's like dress down Friday, but you kind of like do the
The opposite, yeah.
irony of that. That's amazing. Do you have any fancy Fridays also, Håkan? At
No,
Storefront Styria?
No, I think we are all casual.
Yeah, I think me too. since I work at home, and if I work in the office, then it's gonna be fancy any day. Okay. Anything you want to share, Kim, before we kick off your session? Share to our audience.
No, nothing. I think
No?
I'm ready to get started.
Okay. Do you want to have your questions on the go, or you want it after?
I think it's better to just interrupt me if there are any questions during the presentation, and if there are any questions afterwards, we can take them as well. And then, as you said, the fika as well works. So yeah, but just do them as you want. Yeah.
All right, that's awesome. Thank you. So let's put your presentation on stage, and good luck. And
Yeah, thank you. Good. Yeah, so let's kick it off. And as mentioned there, I'm the CTO for Data and AI for Society Sweden. And the session today will be about Edge AI, so how you can do smarter IoT for instant insights. So it's pretty much covering, as mentioned there as well, both of the categories that I'm MVP for. So it will be how you run AI on IoT devices and out on the edge. And what is the edge then, to kick it off, and why is Edge AI important? Well, there are multiple things. First off, I mean, in a lot of cases, you might need to have real-time decision making. So it could be, for example, if you run things in a factory. In a lot of cases, there you can't have any latency. It needs to act right away when something happens. And that is a reason to going Edge AI. So real-time decision making is one of them. So yeah, the other thing is you might need some enhanced privacy and security, meaning that you might want to keep all the data local to where it's actually being produced. You don't want to push it, for example, to cloud or things like that. So you want to keep it where it's being produced out at, again, if we take the example of factories, out on the machine level, where it could be a security camera or whatever, but where the data is being produced, you want to keep it there. And yeah, so the perimeter is out on your local parts. Another thing is you might have reduced bandwidth. So in a lot of examples, you don't have really good connectivity. It could be, what can we say, down in a mine or something, or in areas where, you don't have any good connectivity. Could be a thing as well. And also cost. So I mean, running things locally can, in a lot of cases, be a lot cheaper than running it in cloud, for example. So that could be also an option why you want to look at Edge AI. And of course, the reliability part, specifically in remote settings. Because in some cases, it could be not even that you have like poor or reduced bandwidth. It could be that you don't have any bandwidth at all. So you have no connectivity at all. So in offline scenarios, of course, Edge AI could be a really good option to look into. It could be something to do. And about this edge AI, it's actually been quite hard to run edge AI before, but now it is viable actually. And why that is because nowadays you have a lot more powerful hardware. There is a lot more like smaller, faster models than there's been before. And there's been a lot of runtime optimizations. And I will cover all of these things when we go through later in the presentation as well. But these things makes edge AI viable nowadays. That hasn't been before. So it's been viable in some scenarios, but now it's a lot wider what you can do with it actually. And before we kick off, I just want to do a little bit of a introduction about who I am, a bit more on a personal level. I'd like to do that. So, yeah, in my spare time, I really love to dance. So I have dance practice 4 times a week, and also I do a lot of like different outdoor activities. So I do a lot of hiking, camping, fishing, that sort of thing, skiing also. And I have a little bit over a decade in the tech industry. I don't know exactly how long it is now. But as mentioned with Fancy Friday, I think it's like 13, 14 years, something like that. And the last around 9 years, I've been focusing on clouds. I was a quite early adopter of going into Azure, actually utilizing Azure. I'm also part of the Microsoft Responsible AI Innovation Center in Sweden. And as mentioned, and as this is, I do quite a lot of public speaking, and I contribute quite a lot to open source, both Microsoft MIT licensed open source and other kind of open source as well. And the code that I will show you today is something that I have published on my GitHub. So if you want to run and test the demos by yourself in the end, I will give the link in the end of the presentation. But because of those 2 last things, the public speaking contributions and that sort of thing, as mentioned before, I'm a Microsoft MVP within AI and IoT. So to start it off then, you can look at a little bit on the AI development fundamentals. So how do you get started and how do you work with AI? It's a little bit more targeted into the generative AI parts, but you can do the same sort of thing and it change a few things going into more of the machine learning, so other areas of AI as well. But it's a little bit more into the generative AI. But I will cover both generative AI and some machine learning vision things later on in the presentation as well. But how you usually get started when it comes to AI development then? Usually, the first thing you look at is to try to pick the correct model for what you're trying to do. And that can be quite a hard task to do because first off, there is a lot of models nowadays. But actually picking the right one should be usually the first step that you look into. So, for example, if you need to do something edge AI wise, it could be that you need to look into having first off like an SLM or some kind of language model, and you might need to have some sort of like vision specific thing, or it could be an embedding model to be able to run RAG or that sort of thing as well. So yeah, looking into what kind of model you need first. And second off, usually you don't get everything that you need out of the box with these models. So in a lot of cases, you need to customize it. So it could be that you need to fine-tune it or those sort of things with the model afterwards as well. And the third step is usually that you need to add knowledge or some sort of tool that can be used with this as well. So for example, you might need to make your agents or whatever you're building able to communicate with other things or connect to different things. So then you might need to add in some tools or that sort of thing, or add in knowledge in your specific use cases for your company or whatever. And the fourth step, then, orchestration. So how do you orchestrate your solutioning in a bigger term? So how do you actually run it fully when you productionize it? And the last 2 parts are quite connected to each other, but trust. I mean, you need to evaluate and see how your actual solution performs and how it behaves when you do things. And last off, of course, observability. So it could be both performance-wise or if it's actually following your guardrails or that sort of thing as well. Yes. And if we jump on then, so how Microsoft has decided to go into this area of edge AI. It's quite recently, actually, that the things that I will show you now came out. I think one of the things I will show you is something called Foundry Local, which was released, I think it was at the last build when they announced it. And now it's out, and I will show you hands-on how it looks. So I will jump into demos quite soon about this. But what Foundry Local actually is, or just how Microsoft sees this area in general, is they're bringing together a lot of different assets to be able to democratize AI and how you run it, edge AI-wise. So one of the things is it's involving Foundry just in general. It can be Azure AI Foundry or Foundry Local or whatever, but it provides you with a lot of models. It's both things that you can run on your local machine and if you want to utilize cloud. So that sort of thing. And it's being utilized by a lot of different companies. I think it's quite more than this number now, actually, but this is the last I saw about it, 70,000 plus organizations. But another big thing as well with Foundry Local and what Microsoft has done is they're utilizing something called Onyx. And it's a way of using, so you can run your models in a lot of different scenarios. So no matter if you have CPU, GPU, NPU, or whatever on your actual Silica that you're running it on, it makes it possible to run it. So it's like a cross-platform on-device inferencing service. And I will go a little bit deeper into that later on, but it's utilizing Onyx, at least, something that I can say, which makes it a lot simpler to run models and things on your local machines, or if it's an IoT device or whatever. And of course, then you have the Windows on-device models. For most of them, you need to have a Copilot Plus PC. I don't have that, so I can't show you that much, sadly. But there are some different APIs and things you can run as well. And there is a specific ML runtime that makes it possible to run on Windows devices, no matter if it's a Windows server or if it's a laptop or whatever. So you have like hundreds of millions of devices that are running Windows, which you can do this on then. But jumping in a little bit more into one of the things that I mentioned there, Foundry Local. So what is Foundry Local then? Well, it is connected to Azure AI Foundry, so you can utilize a lot of the models there. But specifically more, you can utilize a lot smaller models. So the Foundry Local models are similar ones as like the Phi models. You have a lot of different like open source Hugging Face ones as well that you can utilize. And I will show a list of what's available when you run it locally. But it also has like a management service, which pretty much controls and helps you run the models. So how you actually perform the inference on your machine, it handles that for you quite a lot. And of course, as I said there, the Onyx runtime, which makes it possible to run it on whatever kind of Silica you have below on the actual computer or server or whatever it is. And on top of that, you have some different tooling. So there is a CLI, an SDK to work with this as well. And you have an SDK for the management service as well. So I can start off jumping into some actual code here then. And if we start off, how do you actually start running this then? Well, to install it, it's just like one line that you run. So it's like vim get foundry. So it's a really, really simple install. And when you have installed it, you can check here. So foundry model list. When you run this command, it will show you the models that are available for your specific Silica. So in my case, I only have a machine with the CPU. I don't have any powerful GPU or NPU or anything like that in my machine. So it will show me GPU-specific models that can run on CPU. So we run that. And it will check first, of course, if the service is started or not. And in this case, it was started. And it will list all of the models that are actually available on your machine. So if I want to run any of these ones, let's say I take a really small one. We can take the, let's see, which one should we pick? We can do the 5 for mini reasoning. The only thing you need to do is Foundry model run, and then you specify what model you want to run. Nothing more than that. And it will actually download that model if you don't have it downloaded. I didn't have this specific one apparently downloaded. So it will do that. And let's see. If it takes too long, I will just use some other model, but let's wait a little while. Now it says 52 seconds. It's too long. I don't want to wait. So let's pick some other one that I know that I have. Let's do that one. It's a really small Quen model. And that one I had. So it's just loading the model and prepping it for inference, and now it's ready to use. So here now I have the model running locally on my machine only. So what can you say then? What is the meaning of life? If you ask it that, yeah, it will give you a response. As normal with models. So now it's running in inference and I have the model running on my machine. But if I ask like a follow-up question here now, is it 42? It actually answered now, but usually it doesn't. But yeah, it was supposed to be a joke if you have seen the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. But the thing is, this can't act as a chat that you're used to, because the model is only running inference, so you can use it, but it don't know the question I asked before, or it can't keep track of the history and that sort of thing. It has none of that kind of functionality. So you need to add on that yourself, and I will show you some different examples on how you can do that afterwards. But that's pretty much it. That's how simple you can get started with Foundry Local. So it's one line to install it, and then you just pick it up, decide what model you want to run or that sort of thing. And you also have the management service, which I will show you again in some other use cases where that comes into play. So it keeps track of what you have running in the inference or not. But let's shut that down. But another part where you can actually get started with Foundry Local, there is something called the AI Dev Gallery. You can just download this in the Windows store. So yeah, the regular store where you can find apps. And this is like a dev gallery where you can get started with some different samples on how you can start out with Edge AI on Windows, pretty much. And here again, you have a model select part, and it separates it into like language, multimodal, generative, la la la. And if you pick these ones, you can just download them here, and it will download it to your machine, so you can run it on it. But also it has a lot of different samples. So if we just take a sample like this, pretty simple. Again, if it goes into how I showed you before, how you usually do it, you start off, you pick the model. And in this case, I can pick it either from Windows AI APIs. I don't have that, as I don't have a Copilot Plus PC, you remember. But you can pick Foundry Local, custom models, Open API, different sort of thing. Open AI, I mean. But here, if we pick like, let's take... Yeah, we can already do the model that is loaded up there. But here, you see, it's a regular chat on how we can use that. But the thing is, you can also take it so you can get it into source code. So there is like a GitHub repository behind all of this. So you can take this as a sample and build on your own things if you want to. Or you can export it into Visual Studio and that sort of thing as well. So there is a lot of different options here. Quite a lot of these options are actually based on the Windows APIs, as I said there, which most of them require that you actually have, let's see if we take something like this, for example, it requires that you have the Windows AI APIs available, which means that you need to have a Copilot Plus PC. So some of the cases you can't actually run if you don't have that. But most of them you can actually do, so text-based ones or whatever you want to do, code, generate or explain code or that sort of thing. And again, you get the code examples on the side, so if you want to take it further and then build it into your own solution, it's a starting point where you get started from, pretty much. So that's another recommendation which I can give to you that you can start using if you want to. But if we get back a little bit to the presentation, so that is a little bit about Foundry Local, and I will show you a lot more on what you can actually then take to inspiration and then build more with it. But another thing, as you see on the left side here, you have also Windows AI Foundry. Naming is something that's not the strong suit of Microsoft, I would say. It's a little bit confusing, these terms. But you have Azure AI Foundry, cloud-based. You have Foundry Local, which is the things that I'm showing you now, which are models, help you with the runtime, that sort of thing. And then you have Windows AI Foundry. And Windows AI Foundry takes it a step lower below as well. So it's how you run using these like AI models and things specifically on Windows. So it's Windows only. So Foundry Local, you can run on both Mac and Windows or whatever you want to run it. I think it's only available on those two at the moment, actually. But Windows AI Foundry is, of course, Windows only, a little bit more specific. But it has the same kind of tooling, which you get from the other one. The only exception is you have the bottom one here, Windows ML. So it's a little bit more extensive on what you actually get into this, but it's quite similar. Again, it helps you to run it, whatever kind of silica you have, that sort of thing. But again, we do another deep dive into this kind of service then. So what you actually have is these different things. And if we start from the right here, first off, you have like built-in AI APIs. Some of them I showed you there, but it helps you pretty much to integrate AI functionality into your apps, as the example I showed you, and more things in there as well. So you can do it with like natural language, vision things, and a lot more that is included as well. But in quite a lot of use cases, it's not enough with that. So you need to customize some parts. And one of the things that you can do is something called LoRa for PhiSilica, and it's like a low rank adapter that you can add on context or how you want your models to behave. So it's like a fine-tuning. It's a way of fine-tuning your model. I can show you a little bit more on how you actually do it as well. And then there's parts for knowledge retrieval. So yeah, semantic search APIs that powers that. So you have different kinds of knowledge retrieval. Again, and the last part here on the left, you have the models. So in a lot of cases, the customization won't meet all the needs. So in some cases, you need to add in more models. So you have a quite extensive model catalog, and you have Foundry Local as well. So there is different parts on how you can fetch it in. And the model catalog makes you able to run a lot of open source models. That's not only in the Foundry Local parts. So like Hugging Face and different kinds of things as well. And you can adapt them and get them running on your machine. It helps you with that as well. And in the bottom here, we have the foundation pretty much. So Windows ML, it supports the execution of all the AI models. So everything from CPU to GPU to NPU, it helps you run that as well. And if we go in a little bit deeper to the Windows, like the customization part that I mentioned there. So the low rank adapter that you have, it could be in this example, as you see, if you want to add in like a brand voice. So you want it to sound like your company specifically. So how you talk about things like acronyms or whatever, you can add that in with that. And it's a really like small way of fine tuning the model. So you add in a little bit more context to the model so it understands it all the time. But in some cases, you might need to add in like specific domain knowledge. So domain specific knowledge like industrial things or some kind of technical terms or whatever. And then you can do a combination of either LoRa. For some cases, it can be the right way to go. And in some cases, it might be that you need to add in some kind of knowledge retrieval. But you're able to do it both other ways. And in the last one here, if you want it to answer things based on your own like documentation or your own content, yeah, then you will go with the knowledge retrieval part, of course. And the knowledge retrieval part, it pretty much looks like this. So it's quite standard. You have some kind of knowledge base. When it asks a query, it will search for the relevant knowledge that it gets, and then it will match it, the top matching context, and it will add the user query with that sort of context to the machine learning model. So the LLM or SLM or whatever you're running it with, it will add that context into it and then give you a reply based on your documentation or whatever it might be. But if you cover both of these things that I covered now, that I talked about, so first off, we can go into the LoRa part, so the low rank adapter. And if we check that out, a really good thing where I like to start if I go into VS Code when I build these sort of things locally, it's the AI toolkit that is available in VS Code. It's really, really good, I think, to start running edge AI parts and if you want to develop and do things on your own machine. So if you go into the AI toolkit, you see here, first off, as with all things I said, you start off with a model. And the models you have available here, you can both do things from GitHub, So I have one model running from there with my GitHub account. I also have Azure AI Foundry connected here, which makes it possible to do it. But for this sort of demos that we're doing now, of course, I want to run it with Foundry Local. So these are all the Foundry Local models I have downloaded and able to run from my machine. But the part that we talked about there, then LoRa. So if you go into the low rank adapter part, there is a fine-tuning tab here in the model tools. So if you go into that one, the first thing you do is just you create a project. And the project is just where will it be running from? And you give it a name, nothing more than that. And it will create this for you pretty much. So like a folder structure with the LoRa parts and some soft prompting and that sort of thing. But what you actually do then is you go in here, and there are two different templates what you can use. So it's either the LoRa part, so you can adapt the models with small trainable layers. So it's like you add in different layers into it to add in, as the example, your brand voice or something like that. And how simple that is, pretty much. I won't run this because it takes a lot of time. But how it looks like, that sample is, you add in a run name, what you want to call it, the model that you will do it on. For this one, I had a Phi Silica specifically selected. And then you select a training data set and you select a test data set. And this is pretty much how you want it to behave. So this one is just an example how it could look. And it explains some more what you do. But it's what you will actually do the fine-tuning with. So the training and test data sets. And you pick some more options. Like how many samples do you want to run? And a lot of different other options as well, when you want it to drop off and that sort of thing as well. And it explains that for you if you look at all the different settings. But when you've added all of that, you pretty much just run it. You can run it with cloud or you can run it locally as well, but it usually goes a lot faster if you do it with cloud. But I won't do that in this example, but that's pretty much how you do that, how you add it on. Nothing more than that. And the other part, and for that, I will actually jump over to another repo, which is the one that I will share with you in the end as well. So I have this repo called AI on the Edge. And it's pretty much just a bunch of different demo cases that you can run and test for yourself. And one of them, as we see here, it's an Edge AI RAG document search, which is the other part that we talked about there. So how can you actually run like knowledge retrieval with your own documents? And the simplest way to just get started and run all of these demos, I have like a startup script for it. So I'll just start all the demos up at once. Let's see if my computer handles this now. I hope so. Yep, all demos are running. And let's start off picking this one. So the document search one. I'm just going to move screens. It's still loading, so just a sec here. Well, I can start all of them up at once instead. I hope I'm not lagging. It doesn't look like it, at least what I can see. Doesn't seem like it's actually starting now because I said so. But let's start anyway, some of the other ones instead and just look at it, what it looks like. So we can take this one then instead as the first example. So these demos, this is one of them. So it's just a chat playground pretty much. You can pick and choose different models. So if you want to load some of the models, you just initialize them first. Where is that small one that I showed before? There it is, the lightweight model. So you pretty much just pick a model. And it will initialize it. There we are. And then it's ready to use here. So then you can chat with it. And now it can actually understand the question before because it keeps that in context all the time. Let's see if we can get the other one up then. If it's up now. It's always like it is, right? When you run demos, something probably failed. No, now it started. It was maybe just slow. But this is like the RAG case that we have done. So how you can add in some your own knowledge into the model instead. Because the other one with the chat playground, it's just a basic model. It doesn't understand your context. So we can just do this to give you that example and show you the difference. If we go to the first one here. So this one, if we pick the same model that we had there, and then, I mean, it doesn't matter. This is just open models. But in this case, the difference is here you pretty much pick a document you want to upload, and it will chunk that down for you using, as you see here, this is the embedding model that I'm running at the moment. You can pick different ones, but the demo is specifically running it with this model, the embedding model. So if we upload the document, let's see here. I think I have some in this demo folder, and it's on there, here. And we can pick, like a RAG guide then. It's just a text document. So if we do it with this one, so it will upload and embed that document. So upload and process. Yep, it created 34 chunks. Oh, I accidentally clicked it twice. But you see here, so it actually added that document in. So you have one document with 34 different chunks with 928 different words. And in this example, then if I want to, I can pick and change the model. Again, to not completely ruin my computer, because I don't have that powerful a computer, I switch to a smaller model. So the Gwen one, and you can see here, it will actually look and see that it's running and that sort of thing as well for validation. And then if I, for example, want to summarize, so summarize it into like the different key points that is available in the document. So I can do that here. Oh, I think it looked like it disconnected for a little while there. I think I'm back now. Yeah, good. Again, if you're running it on quite an not powerful computer, it takes up quite a lot of the power for the computer. So yeah, sorry for the short disconnection there, but I think I'm back now. It looks like it at least. But here you see, here we have a summarization now. So it summarizes what's in the actual document. And yeah, looks good, what it is. And you can pick and choose the different ones if you want to change it up. So that's like a really simple example of how that looks like. And we have some other ones in this repo as well. So as you see, the different ones, now it actually added in. So for the documents, you can see the metadata and the embeddings is now added into this specific one for the new document that I ran it on. So I ran the embedding on that one specifically. But there are different other ones. Some are just being pretty much simulated. So the quality and the IoT sensor ones are just simulating different things. But we have another one for a smart camera. And if we check that one, let's go up and see what port is running on. That one. So this one would just show on my secondary camera, so another camera. And it will just load a model as well and do like a person detection thing, pretty much. Really simple, but it just detects a person or not. So if I block it and I don't see a person, it will change it. So you see there, it's actually framing and looking for people in the frame where it's loading it. So that's what it's doing. And I'm planning to add, as you see here, more things into it so you can detect different kinds of things like vehicles, object detection, or whatever. Yes, and I will show you a real example on how this can look like in some other scenarios. So a real case where this has been used. Good. So that is those two different things that I showed you. And another thing about Edge AI that is not generative AI, but something else, is that you can run machine learning cases as well. And this is something for Microsoft, how they see that. So they say like machine learning everywhere, and how it can be used. So I'm going to talk a little bit about a specific case. So as you see in the bottom left corner here, you can run. So when you do training and that sort of thing, you can actually run the inference out on premise. So if it is on like an Azure Arc connected cluster or just a Kubernetes cluster or whatever, it makes it possible to run it out on the edge. And again, then you train it and utilize the power that you have cloud-wise for actually training the model, and then you can run the inference out. And I have a good example on where I've been part of doing that as well. So I can cover that case a little bit. And it is together with Husqvarna that I've done a case. So this specific problem, what we targeted was that we looked at the casting process. So in some cases, when you do casting, there might be some air gaps inside the metals. And the thing is, in a lot of cases, you can't see this, like the air bubbles or the air gaps inside the metal, because it's like encapsulated with other things, which means that you won't find it perhaps. Before, how it looked like, it was manual inspections, so manual quality checks pretty much. It happened quite late in the process as well. So at that process, it wasn't. You weren't able to remelt the part, so it got scrapped pretty much. That was the result of it. And there is a lot in a lot of different parts where this is being done as well. So it was a really useful case to look at from their side. And in this case, actually, we have to run the evaluations quite quickly. So the full evaluations, it looks at 6 to 8 different angles, needs to be run within 30 seconds. That's the first part of it. And you need to be able to run it on 8 different machines, running it in parallel, and with a 95% precision and 65% recall, which means this is a really good case to utilize Edge AI, because it needs to be processed really quickly. So for example, if you would have done this with cloud instead, like fully cloud, it means that it needs to send up like 6 to 8 different like API calls based on that. So that can take too much time. So the latest part would come in this case. But how this looks then, you have a camera out, and it actually looks at, like, first off, it takes the raw image. It locates like the area where it will look for specific things. And then it will do a detection. And as you see in this specific picture in the detection, it has found air bubbles within it. And how you can do that in this case as well is because it is actually done a hole, so some sort of drilling in it. And in those cases, the air bubbles come up from the casting, so it makes it like visible. And so it runs this full evaluation in 30 seconds, 6 to 8 different angles. And this is being run on the edge. So it is like hardware out in the factory. So we train the model in cloud, and then we run the inference model out in the actual factory. That's how it looks. And we're actively productionizing this at the moment, so it's not fully out yet. But hopefully I can talk more about it quite soon and show you some real examples when we're actually running the evaluation, that sort of thing. But this is something we're looking at the moment. Another thing that I've done, I won't mention any name about this client, but we've actually done like it's a security, so a vision detection that is being run out in a warehouse, which is it's looking for both forklifts and people, and where there is like a collision risk. So I'm going to run this. This is a video, so I'll just be quiet for a little while and run this demo. Yeah, so that's a use case for safety reasons ran in a warehouse. So you could take the demo that I showed you before and build that onto that. So this one, let's see, which one was it? The camera one, as you saw before, at least. But you can take that and build that on, and that could be a solution like that, because it's utilizing the exact same technology, pretty much, detecting different things. But another one that I will show you as well is when you can utilize it on some other, because this example that I showed you now, the last one, it's being run then on a local compute out in the warehouse. So again, no cloud connection at all. It's just being run completely out in the factory, utilizing these things. And another case, which I'll show you, just another video, the last one, I promise. It's about running it with drones, pretty much. So how you can detect different kinds of faults or scrapes or things on an airplane. That is a case that we have been running. So I'll just run that video as well, another case as an example. So yeah, there we have another case, just an example, being run with drones to detect like errors and things out on an airplane, which is being run and used by an airplane company. Again, I can't I can't talk about which one it is, but it's one of the bigger airplanes manufacturers actually that it has been run with. So with that, again, I have these different AI on the edge examples, which you can run on as a repo. I'll give you the link now shortly, but it's pretty much you can run this out by yourself. The only thing you need, and it explains that quite extensively for you. I'm just going to shut this off so it's not taking up any of my computer things. But yeah, it explains quite extensively exactly how you run the demos and that sort of thing as well. And the startup script helps you get started really quickly to test this out. So feel free to clone this out and do whatever you want with it by yourself, pretty much. And I'll give you that link here. So my GitHub handle is quite simple, Kim, and then a dash, and then Berry, so my name. And if you go in there and check, it's the repo called AI on the Edge, same as this session. So clone that down and then check it out if you want to. But again, so if you have any questions, we can take them now. I didn't have anything more that I was planning to cover. So is there something more that you want to look at or any questions? Please feel free to ask them.
Thank you so much, Kim, for the awesome presentation. Yeah, I was literally like typing the GitHub link so I can share it on the chat, but I got it. Thank you so much for the great presentation. We do have one question. I'll shoot from Taku Susuyama. Could you tell me the minimum PC specification required to run Windows AI Foundry?
I don't think there is like any specific minimum like specification. I think you need to run it on. I don't have it in my mind. I can send you the link for it. So if you just go in and check the Microsoft Learn docs for Foundry Local specifically, or Windows AI Foundry, the specifications are there. But to utilize quite a lot of the on-device silica, so the PHY silica parts, it's only available on Copilot Plus, those kinds of specific PCs running that. But I think to be able to run Foundry Local and Windows AI Foundry just in general, I think the only like specific specifications are that you need to have it on Windows 10 or 11. I'm not really sure. You can just look that up as well. But you don't need a really powerful machine. I mean, I have a development machine, but it's not a really powerful one. Sure, it crashed my PC for a little while now, as you saw, but but I ran all of the demos at the same time as well, and all of them are using different like AI things. So and I also have this up and that sort of thing as well. So you don't need a really powerful one. I have a Lenovo X1, the Carbon one, so it's not a super powerful one, and it only has a CPU. So most likely you can start using it and run it by yourself now right away.
That's good. Thank you, Kim, for that. That's the only question we have. I do have questions, but I want to like show up that we have actually fellow MVPs supporting us on the session. We have Side joined us. We have Nikos saying hi. We got also like terrific feedback about your session as well. I do have a question, but maybe we can ask Håkan. Do you have any question, Håkan? I know this is also your space.
Yes, I just had a question here, because you mentioned here, Kim, that these models could be run on Windows or on Mac, but this Linux, is that also available, or is that outside of the scope?
As far as I know, it's only on Windows and Mac. I haven't seen any announcement that you can do it on Linux yet. And that's Foundry Local, that is. So I haven't seen an announcement about it. I can double check. We can check it afterwards. I'm not sure. But the last thing I saw at least was Windows and Mac.
Okay, that's good. I think we lost Håkan. I see. Oh, back. You're back, Håkan. Thank you. Okay, great. Go ahead, Håkan.
No, thank you for the answer.
Yeah, I have a question. My next question, since while we're waiting for others to give us like raise more questions, like, I mean, it's very fascinating how you could do with Edge AI. Impressive demos, Kim. I like all your demos. I did share the link as well. But my question is, if you're a beginner, like, what are the things they need to think about like in terms of cause, for example, because you can do this cool stuff and build different things, but as a beginner who wants to try, what are the things, top 3 things or top few things they need to think about before they get started developing with like AI on the edge, just like what you did?
I would say, and yes, this is just my view on it in general, not only for Edge AI, but just AI, whatever, wherever you're running it. I think just start looking at it from like a problem perspective. So the same way as how I mentioned it about the Husqvarna case, if you have something that you feel is like a hurdle or something that is hard to do for yourself, take it from that perspective instead. Don't start with the technology part, or think about something. Oh, this is something that is like problematic for me. I want to solve it, and try to target that specifically. And then just get hands-on and start building with it. I showed you a lot of the different examples of where you can start. It's really good to either go into the AI gallery part that is available with samples and code. You can go into the AI toolkit and start utilizing a lot of different things there on what you can run. You can build agents in there and a lot of different things as well. So those 2 parts is a really good starting point. Or just in general, I mean, think about something you want to solve and start building it. There is a lot of help to be done about it as well. For example, a lot of the repo that you saw there that I showed you now, I've built some of those demos, not all of them, but some of those demos is just like vibe coded. So I did it with Copilot. So it's AI built AI, pretty much. But of course, I finalized and fixed it afterwards because it didn't do a super good job, I think. But that's the starting point of what I did for it. So I wanted to have like different things utilizing Foundry Local and the Windows AI Foundry parts as well. And I started building some demos based on things that I thought about, like, yeah, for example, if I want to detect different objects, as the example I showed you, like forklifts and person, what could be a starting point and I need to do? What do I need to think about when I build that solution? And I did that as a small part. And some quality parts as well, like factory things. And if I want to build something RAG-wise, I want to chat on my own documents and do the embeddings by myself. Yeah, where do I need to get started? And that's where I built that demo as well. And so those demos that are available, there is just some parts that I saw as like things to solve that I see problematic for a lot of the clients that I work with. And I just started building them pretty much. So yeah, use those two things to get started and then get hands-on. That's what I always recommend. Start doing things.
That's great, and I do agree with that. And did you know if there's like a sandbox? Because I know AI can be very expensive, just like cloud. But do you know
Not
if
if
there's
it's
like
Edge AI.
what? Edge AI? Yeah, Edge AI. Is there like any sandbox? I mean, it's not easy maybe for anybody like a student or beginner to just like get started with this. But do you have any like
That's the good
recommendation?
thing. Yeah, that's the good thing about it. You don't need to worry
Yeah.
about it the same way because everything is
Oh,
just running on your local machine, so you don't pay
that's
anything for
good.
it. Foundry
That's
Local
really
is
good.
completely free, so you can run all of those demos I showed you. They cost zero. It only utilizes your machine, and it costs nothing.
Okay, that's good because I did have a talk just this week about Azure AI Foundry, and I did was asked about like how will it cost me? Like, do I need to have an Azure subscription? And they are like IT students and they want to start. So this is really good information. Thank you for sharing for that.
Yeah, so AI Foundry and all of these things, Foundry Local, it
Yeah.
costs nothing. You can just install it, start running it, building things. It costs nothing. It will only
Okay.
utilize. Of course, you need a PC to run it on,
Yeah.
but that's it. That's it. Other than that, it's no cost.
A good enough powerful PC that it survives running. We were a bit worried you were gone for like a few seconds, but
Yeah,
you came back. Yeah, so I think I'm very interested about the Windows local as well. So I'm gonna be the one following your repo as well, and also to our followers or watchers live or recorded. I did post the link to Kim's AI on the Edge repository, and feel free also to reach out Kim anytime if you have questions and good use cases you've shared, Kim.
yeah.
No
I
more
had the last
questions.
slide about that in the end. So if you
Oh,
want to connect where I actually
yeah.
post a lot of my things and that sort of thing, if you want to follow me as well, that is just a QR code to my
Yeah.
LinkedIn, where
Yes.
I'm most active on LinkedIn. So you can go in and follow me there
And
if you want to.
yes, and watch for Kim's Fancy Friday looks every week.
Every week. I didn't do
Every
it
week.
this week, but it's because I'm a little bit
Huh.
sick, as you can hear.
Sometimes you can skip the consistency then.
I didn't work properly, so it was no fancy Friday,
You were
and I
on
just got back from
vacation.
Rome. Yeah, exactly.
Yes, we did get thank you so much for your answer. That's from Taku Sukuyama. Thank you for joining us. And also, we have citing Kim next season, MCP and IoT. All right, we have friends joining us.
Yeah,
Amazing.
I have a session about that is in the plans, but it hasn't got accepted anywhere yet. But yeah, I do have a session
Oh,
about that. How you
they should
use
accept
the
it.
yeah, I have a session about how you utilize the AI toolkit specifically, and in there I cover quite a lot about IoT,
Mhm.
MCP, and agents in combination. How you build that.
Yes. Can I ask you to contribute in my book, Kim? I'm actually in the process of working on second edition, so maybe you and Håkan can also contribute into the AI chapter. I think that's a big chapter. Is going to be that would be awesome. Your expertise would be valuable as well.
Yeah, sure thing.
Yes, I think we're good, Håkan. Right?
Yeah, did we post the link to the Azure Fika?
Yeah, to friends or attendees who wants to join us, Kim, us will be on Zoom meeting for 15-20 minutes if you have spare time, if you have more questions or you just want to hang out with us with your favorite drink, coffee, tea, or water, and we will continue our discussion there. And otherwise, any final words, Kim, before we say bye to our audience, community?
No, just thanks for listening.
Yes, thank you so much for your time. I appreciate it, and your time is valuable for us, and your knowledge as well. And before we end and say goodbye, I want to share about our upcoming session in 2 weeks. We're gonna have another speaker, another MVP, Oris Babik, security architect at Cryon, telling us or sharing about security this time. So best practices on Microsoft Intra ID delegation. So watch out for our event announcement for that. Oh, happy weekend, everyone, and see you on our Zoom meeting, which we will connect right after we end our stream. Have a great weekend. Bye.
Bye bye.
Bye.